I can tell you where it started. I was 6 years old. I remember sitting cross-legged on the veranda with my magnifying glass. It was a gift from my stepfather. He thought I'd grow up to be a scientist. But I remember angling the magnifying glass just right, so the light would shine and point directly on the ant I'd been stalking. I remember the sizzle and the way they would squirm, then a plop and a sudden explode. Then later I'd catch bugs and spiders. I'll pin them up against the wall and watch them die slowly. Oh, the power, the control. It was my world and I was God. But it didn't stop there. You'd eventually get bored of the small, tiny things. My first real kill was my sister's cat Annie. Well, you know how little cats can be. The fucking thing hated me, so I had to teach it a lesson. And my sister, for that matter. Always calling me weird and freak. So, I strangled it with my bare hands and hung its head above the hook above the bed so she said first thing in the morning when she woke up. They sent me to the shrink after that though. But I was cleverer than him. And 2 months later he would send me back with a boys will be boys speech to my parents. So, I kept things quiet for a while. Snakes, birds, rats, any small animal I can get my hands on. I mean, there's a great sense of power watching something die, you know, staring into his eyes as he draws his last breath. It's almost pleasurable. I've always been a loner. No friends at school or college. Not anybody's fault, I just don't like people much. But I liked her. Justine. Hair like chocolate milk that ran down her back with bright inward eyes like Annie's cat. Yes, she was soft. I mean, I tried to talk to her. I even sent her a letter telling how I feel. But she just ignored me. Then I heard her telling her friend that she thought I was a fucking freak. That word again! No one was supposed to call me that, especially her! Especially not her! She worked at the coffee shop in the centre town. I knew she was working that night. I'd seen her do it before. I waited till she locked the doors and I grabbed her from behind and stuffed the tissue soaked in clover over her face. We drove back to my place and I carried her in. She looked so beautiful lying on my bed. So I stripped her naked and I tied her hands on the bedpost and I spent the night watching her sleep. The next morning the silly bitch started screaming, so I had to stick her panties in her mouth. I mean, she didn't listen to me. I kept on telling her how beautiful she was. I watched her, I took her to the toilet, I fed her, I cooked and cleaned for her. I treated her like a fucking princess, but she was so fucking ungrateful. And last night, while making love, she bit me. So, I took the panties out of her mouth and I whipped them around her neck. I stared into her eyes as she drew her last breath. The power, the pleasure, the release.